What is happening, guys? Welcome to episode 84 of The Fun Waste of Time. I am Taurus, and on this episode of the show, we're going to talk about some of the comic book franchises and movie and TV franchises that we would like to see returned, rebooted, or refreshed, and who we would like to see as the main characters in those properties, meaning what actors we think would be good for those roles if they're rebooted, reset, and refreshed. We're going to talk about the movies and TV shows that we've been watching, as well as the video games that we've been playing as well. But before we get into all of that, let's check in with the fellas. What is going on, guys?
What's up?
What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, what is happening, James? How have you been?
Not too bad, man. Just cheering on my Buccaneers, and NASCAR championship was last weekend, and thankfully it fell on a Bucks bye, so I got to enjoy that as well.
Awesome. Are the Bucks doing as well as you'd like them to this year?
Yes, we have a lot of injuries, but we're looking good so far. It'd be nice if we could get some guys back, but we'll see. We play the Patriots tomorrow, or on Sunday, and I'm excited to go to that game.
Now, I know we're not the biggest sports podcast. Well, we're not a sports podcast at all, to be honest with you. But I got to know, what is the Bucks' record so far this year?
7-2.
7-2. No kidding. They're doing pretty well.
Sorry, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2
Okay.
or 7-2. We just came off the bye week, so I'm confused.
So they're
We're
Super
at-
Bowl contenders then.
We're leading the division, and I think we're third overall in the NFC.
Awesome. Fantastic, man.
Not bad.
Have you been going to the games live or you just been watching at home?
Well, away games I watch at home, but I do have season tickets still. This is my 9th year.
Wow.
So pretty much since we moved here to Florida, we've had them. So
Gotcha. So for those that are listening to us and watching us that don't know, James is such a football fan that we actually had to move the day that we do the podcast from Football Sunday to a Friday when he's available and free.
That's right.
that's my only VIP treatment.
Hey, and it was worth it.
We got to take care of our people. We take care of our people, James.
That's right, man.
What is happening, Jason? How have you been?
Oh, not too bad, man. Just been enjoying this unpaid vacation that us federal employees have been indulging in. Has given us a chance, as we discussed briefly before we started recording, that has given us a chance to, do a little bit more of our hobbies and the things we enjoy that we would normally not have been able to do. So, you got to come up with some kind of positives out of this whole situation. And that's definitely one of them. More hobby time, baby.
And that's a fantastic way to look at it. It really is. And to those that are struggling right now, because if you are a civil servant within the U.S. federal government, this is a difficult time. As Jason stated, we're not getting paid. It's been a full paycheck and a half that we've not been paid. And if you're not really familiar with the way the government works when it comes to the shutdowns, there's the potential that it could happen every year. And as federal employees, we need to make sure that we're planning for this kind of thing, because you don't know you don't know what year it's going to happen, and then you don't know for how long it will happen. So It's always good to have some funds set aside for this kind of situation. What's unfortunate, though, are the folks that require other benefits that they're not going to be able to receive, the SNAP benefits, folks who need to feed their kids and that kind of thing. That's what's really sad, and that's what's really breaking my heart right now. But I'm confident, I'm hoping that soon things will get resolved. We'll get back to normal, and we can enjoy our hobbies without feeling any kind of guilt. We can be guilt-free as we enjoy them, as opposed to feeling as if we're able to enjoy ourselves while other people are out there struggling.
That's right.
But Anthony, what is happening? How have you been?
Been doing good. Hey, I'm going to bypass my normal movie trivia in a way, but I did find out something interesting. So I've had an opportunity to watch a lot of older movies and series that I liked, and there's a star who I absolutely love from Point Break, 47 Ronin, and John Wick. You guys know who that is?
Keanu Reeves.
No, that's
Yes,
the obvious.
and that's how I would have said his name up until a few weeks ago, where I actually found out, as big a fan as I am of him, that his name is actually pronounced Keanu because he's Hawaiian. His name is Keanu Reeves, which means cool breeze. So there's a little useless but interesting fact that I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. watch all his movies, and never realized I've been saying his name wrong this entire time.
Wow.
So you have Cool Breeze Reeves. That's a good rapper.
Yeah,
name.
that's a
That
good
is,
name.
yeah,
That is a
it is.
good name.
Kind of like Cool G rap, but just a little more Hawaiian flavor.
I mean, who's that? I'm too young.
Hey, Anthony, a question along those lines, man. How do you pronounce the name of the actress that plays Wonder Woman in like Batman versus Superman? Is it Gadot or Gadot?
Yes, Gal Gadot.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, I've
the
been
T is not
mispronouncing
silent.
that for years. So yeah, don't feel bad, man.
Well, Anthony is really good at pronouncing people's names. I know for
I am
years
not.
one of his
I am
favorite
not.
actors, and
I
I
am
actually
not.
want to hear him say it now. One of his favorite actors.
No,
Chul
don't
Chul
please.
Ejiofor.
I love him,
Can
and I
you
cannot
say
say his
that name?
I cannot say it properly. I will say it. He's a fantastic actor, but I butcher his name for years now.
Well, him
Mahershala
and,
Ali.
Mahershala
Oh,
Ali.
another one. I don't know
Tamora
why.
Morrison. You never were
All
good
of
at
them.
that one.
I'm horrible at those, but Mahershala especially, because I don't know, about halfway through, I start thinking of Hershey Bar. I don't know. I just mess it up.
What's the other one we were talking? Oh, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah,
Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a rough one, man. I think we all messed up his name.
Ta-Nehisi. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mispronounce
I'm
everything, so I just stay quiet.
Well, the good thing about it is you have a full team to help correct you. We cannot let.
Sometimes
if
I'll
we
even
hear
ask-
you misspell something. Like I used to hear you guys say "Ghosts of Tsushima" all the time. You used to say Tsushima as opposed to Tsushima, right? So it's actually Ghosts of Tsushima
Oh,
as opposed to
yeah.
Ghosts of Tsushima. And then there's a lot of people were calling Ghost of Yote, Ghost of Yotai, right?
Oh, really?
So until you actually hear people say it, it doesn't really register what the correct pronunciation is. But we like to try to pronounce things properly on the show.
Yeah.
So if one of the
Hey,
fellas
there's
mispronounce
a,
something, we try to correct them to make sure we get it right.
There's a British comic book writer who, until last year, I've always liked some of his work, who wrote Kick-Ass and some other really popular books. This whole time I've been saying Mark Millar, and it's Mark Miller, but he spells it.
Yeah.
He's British. He spells it with an A. So
I did the
it's-
same thing.
Sometimes it's a, when you follow somebody in a written format and you don't hear their name pronounced, you just go with what you think it is.
Yeah. But what's been going on with me, just like the rest of the guys, folks, I've been watching a lot of TV, watching a lot of movies, and playing video games over this last month since we've been dealing with the furlough. We're going on a month and a half right about now, maybe just a little bit over. We know that it's the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, so it's kind of unprecedented. But we're making the best of it right now. Like I said, because the family and I, we set aside some emergency funds for this kind of thing. I'm just utilizing this time as almost like an extended vacation. It's being seen as an extended vacation because that's really the only way that you could actually see it, or else you'll end up depressing yourself thinking about, how long it's taking and how you're not getting paid. But that's
if you
pretty
guys
much.
are bored. I got plenty of work for you to do here. Like we were
So,
talking about
okay,
before. I can
let's-
use a
let's
couple
clear this
sets of
up.
eyes and hands.
Let's clear this up. We're not bored. We enjoy
okay.
doing
I'm just making
what
sure.
we're doing.
making
We don't enjoy not knowing when those extra funds are going to hit our bank
I-
account.
I
That's
can
what we
pay
don't
you every
like.
Friday. Y'all can come on down.
All right.
We'll pack it in at the house. I got plenty of work
No joke.
down
Well,
for y'all to do.
well, hopefully by the time we get back to work, we'll be rolling right into the holidays, so we'll get more vacation time.
That's right, man.
Right.
I told Taurus before we started that if I was a better looking dude, I might have a blue page up by now. But
Are you OnlyFans?
yeah,
Blue page? Look, that's a unique way to say it.
that's,
I
You're trying to do the
uh,
PG version, huh?
yeah, yeah. Well, just like your strap comment that most of us didn't get. There's some edgier ways to put anything.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get into that on the show. We're PG-13 at least, so awesome, guys. Well, guys, let's not delay. Let's go ahead and get right into what we're going to be talking about this episode. We're going to start things out with talking about movies and TV. We're going to do our watch list first, and then we'll break into the main topic that we're going to be discussing. And before we do that, James, your mic is a little low. I don't know if you can adjust the volume a little bit, but turn the volume up just a tad
Okay.
on your mic.
Pump up the volume.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, let's get into it. Movies and TV.
Movies and TV. In a world where movies and TV are on the same level playing field, What are you watching? The Fun Waste of Time Podcast.
Okay, so as we said, all we've been doing over this last month for the majority of us on the show is just watching a lot of movies and TV shows. So I'm going to start out with Anthony on this one. Anthony, let us know what you've been watching. And for the movie that you've been watching, wait until the last, make that last, because I actually saw that too. And I want to jump in that, and I can add my portion of watch list at that time too.
I'm not looking forward to talking about that one, but okay.
I am.
I know. Okay, so one of the ones I've been watching is I actually watched Karate Kid Legends on Netflix. The cast included Jackie Chan, Ming-Na Wen from Mulan, Ben Wang, who was in a Disney Plus series I like called American Born Chinese, Ralph Macchio, and surprisingly, someone who I did not realize was in it was Joshua Jackson as well. So it kind of retcons some of the Karate Kid 2 storyline in the beginning in order to make a connection between Jackie Chan's Han that most people remember from that horrible version with Will Smith's son. I can't remember his name.
Man, I kind of like that one. I kind of
Jaden. Good.
My taste isn't that great.
No, I'm not gonna down it. I'm just saying, just wasn't as popular as the rest.
True.
It does recycle a lot of the same plot points as the original. You know, the new likable guy meets a girl, and their ex or their current boyfriend is a jerk. You know, it doesn't really shatter any kind of new walls there. We don't really find out why her boyfriend. You know, there's not a lot of development going on with Connor, I believe the character's name is. He's basically the new Johnny Lawrence, for those familiar with Cobra Kai in the original. Jackie Chan was awesome in it, as usual. You know, the problem is they kind of team up to train Ben Wang's Lee. The problem is Jackie Chan is Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio is Ralph Macchio. I mean, the whole time I was like, well, maybe they'll do a good job of explaining exactly why Jackie Chan needs Ralph Macchio's help. I just didn't buy that part of it all. If you can get past that, you'll be okay, because it's really obvious who the martial artists in this movie are and who the actors are in this movie. Because Ralph Macchio is just like in the background, hey, why don't you try this? And I'm like, oh, this is weird. But Ben Wang, again, for those who've seen American Born Chinese off of Disney Plus, he did a fabulous job with not just the acting, in my opinion, and coming across as likable, but the moves he's doing there. He's just a really good martial artist. Overall, I think it was a fun family movie. I think it should have focused a little bit more on Lee, which is Ben Wang, the young kid's, his training with Han, with Jackie Chan. I think they kind of pigeonholed a lot of sub-stories. Like, for some reason, Joshua Jackson is a 50-year-old boxer who wants to be trained by this teenage martial artist. Now, look, I've done limited martial arts growing up. I know nothing about boxing, but I don't see the correlation between, hey, you're pretty good at martial arts. Can you help me at 50 learn how to box? It just did not fit. And then, like I said, maybe just leave Ralph Macchio out, because they brought him in from California with no connection really, except for a throwaway scene to Cobra Kai. I felt like that's the only reason they put him in there. They should have spent more time talking about why Ming-Na Wen's character who plays Lee's mom had an issue with him fighting. So overall, though, it's free. It's a decent movie. You know, not a lot to it, but it's fun. If you like the previous iterations, you'll probably like this one. I've also been watching The Last Frontier, which is now on Apple TV Plus. This is from the Blacklist creator, John Bokenkamp. It has Jason Clarke from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Dominic Cooper from Captain America, First Avenger, and Preacher, and Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. So the show is kind of a mix of Con Air and Prison Break and The Fugitive all rolled up together. The show's about a prison transfer flight that goes down in Alaska, and Clark's Marshall Remnick has to track down these dangerous criminals. So the action is really good. I mean, for a series, it's at times felt cinematic, to be honest with you. There's a lot of plot twists in there that I was not expecting. They do a really good job of building a really great plot and a conspiracy about exactly why that plane went down. The characters are all compelling and have their own stories that you kind of go through a little bit, each episode. The performance, again, I can't say enough about it. I wish I could talk more about Dominic Cooper who played Howard Stark in Captain America. He does a really good job, but I just can't say anything about his character because I'm afraid I'm going to give something away. But really, the setting itself, there in Alaska, is a character within itself because, with the extreme conditions there, it's just a really nice backdrop for the story. It's a week-to-week series. I was kind of worried. I was kind of looking for something because Slow Horses season 5 just finished up, and I was looking for something, and I was like, I don't really want to start something until it's pretty much done, but I just kept seeing the trailers for this, and I was really interested in it. And this week they released episode 6. It is going to be 10 episodes. So for those who still want to wait, you might want to give it a couple more weeks, but it's been just a great watch. Again, as a side note, if you don't have Apple TV Plus, you are missing out on some phenomenal programming. Like I said, Slow Horses season 5, all 5 seasons are just excellent. Ted Lasso, Shrinking, and The Chief of War with Jason Momoa, just to name a few. So do yourself a favor, pick it up. And lastly, the one I've been a little bit dreading talking about because I know Tars is going to talk about it too, because we both saw it last night, is Predator Badlands. And the only reason why I am a little bit not looking forward to it is because I'm kind of like the Minority Report, I'm pretty sure, on this. For those who remember the old Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg movie, Minority Report.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I love Dan Trachtenberg. I was really kind of interested in things that were going on. But honestly, I feel like overall the movie was kind of mid. I know it's getting a lot of positive feedback from it's got a high audience score. This is just for me personally. It is a fresh take on the character and the plot. And I think sometimes with that, the fact that it's a fresh take, it presents new stuff to you. So if you're open to it, I think you'll really enjoy it. The problem again for me is like it reframes the Yautja. Is that how you say it, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The Yautja, they're not just this one-dimensional, methodical, willing to accept and kill at anything, which is good in a way. Like I said, because as some of the pros I had for it, it does provide some interesting backstory to the clans and the planet and stuff like that. For me, it might be something that it'll grow with me after I watch it a few more times. But for me, I just felt like it was a little bit of a letdown after Prey. I thought Prey was a better movie than this one was. And it's not a bad movie at all. So the reason I'm kind of like hedging what I'm saying is because it's got like a real negative tone to it when I say that it's kind of mid for me. It's just because my expectations were pretty high. So it's a good movie. The visuals were really good. And like I said, I loved the detail and the backdrop they provided for Deck, the main character, and how his clan worked. Some things that people like, I know Jason and Tars, they have a much better background history of the Predator than I do. I haven't really kept up with them outside of the normal movies and media. I haven't really read a lot about them or familiar with them. So it'd be really interesting to hear their takes on the way they crafted the storyline. I felt like the weapons were pretty cool that they used on there. And the visuals, like I said, there's some homages to those of you who are big fans of Spielberg's Lost World. You'll kind of see some things that Dan Trachtenberg very smartly put in there. Some references to aliens, obviously. But for me, some of the negatives were Elle Fanning. I just didn't care for her. It's just a subjective thing. Some people are saying she did a really great job as Thea. For me, I didn't care for her. There's a weird plot hole. I hesitate to call it a plot hole, but there's a weird thing that they go through, and I don't want to say too much on it, but there's this thing with a universal translator that she mentions as a plot point, and it doesn't track for me. It doesn't really make any sense, because I'm like, okay, if he's speaking his language and she's speaking his language, why is the universal translator spitting out English for me? Because I'm not supposed to be there. But just a couple other little things, some little minor details I didn't care for was...
Thinking too hard is what that's called.
It's just... Here's the thing is... Wait a minute. Here's the thing is, if they would have rolled with it as it was, but the fact that they made it a plot point or dialogue, she explained it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't track because there's nobody here speaking English then. But anyway, I didn't like Deck making a joke. It's a small little scene, but the fact that he jokes, I just like, it blew my impression of the Predator a little bit. And I didn't care for the cute Disney-like sidekick. Yes, it does make a point in the story. There is a reason for it, but it's weird for me. And the last thing I'll say, like, is thing I didn't like about it was a little bit was, you're seeing some great visuals here if you're looking at the role. I just felt like a world that's going to kill you would have some of the things that were trying to kill him. I wasn't that impressed by, because I was thinking it would all be like kaijus or animals, and there's some fauna that's deadly, some worms. And I'm like, I think we skimped out a little bit on, when you describe the planet, and I'm like, okay, there's basically two creatures that were really badass in there. But overall, like I said, I don't want to put it down too much. It was a good movie. It was entertaining. Would I necessarily see it in the theater? I don't know. I'd probably wait.
So you wouldn't you wouldn't see it initially in the theater. You're saying, or no, I'd probably see it a second time.
Oh, I definitely won't see it a second time in the theater.
So I'll watch it. You would have waited for home release.
I would.
You would prefer to watch it.
I don't. Okay. I'd put it like a 7 out of 10.
And that was going to be my next question: is what's your score?
Yeah.
Because
again, in a 7 out of 10, please understand, that's not a bad movie. There's a lot to like about the movie. I feel like sometimes I'm almost counterbalancing a lot of the hype that I feel that's out there for the movie now. And I feel like some elements are being oversold, in other words.
Okay. So let me ask anybody else this. Jason or James, have any of you seen this movie?
No, but I was thinking about going tomorrow, but...
Yeah, I actually have tickets for Sunday night, and now I'm like, because I
No.
gotta drive 45 minutes to the theater.
No. You've heard one perspective.
Okay.
You've heard one perspective, and because Anthony talked about this now, I'm going to go next with what I've been watching, and I'm going to continue on with the Predator Badlands discussion. I want to say this. The Prey, Predator Killer of Killers, and Predator Badlands, in my eyes, is the perfect trilogy.
All right.
I can't think of any trilogy of movies in recent memory that is better than Prey, Predator Killer of Killers, and Predator Badlands. I like this movie that freaking much. I love the fact that Dan Trachtenberg expanded on the lore of the Predators. I actually like the fact that the Predators actually showed some personality. To be honest with you, the Predator movies prior to Prey, the premise was kind of cool. I just never really thought they explored it the way that it could have been explored and made it as good as the potential of what it is could have been. And Prey for me really started to live up to what the premise of this movie could be, which is why I just absolutely loved it. Because initially when I heard they were doing it, I'm like, how in the heck are some humans from the 17th, 18th century going to keep up with Predator with modern weaponry, right? With modern alien weaponry. There's no way this movie's going to be good. And man, did it not take us by surprise, bro. Oh my gosh, that movie was so darn good. And what made it even more amazing to me is it went straight to streaming. It was a movie that should have been in the theater, but it was released on Hulu for home release.
Yeah.
That movie was just freaking fantastic. And it would have made a lot of money, in my opinion, if it had gone to the commercial theater. And then Dan Trachtenberg followed it up with Predator, Killer of Killers, expanding on the world building and lore even much more than what Prey actually did. Because you really didn't get the opportunity to see what the world building and lore of Prey was going to be until the exact end credits of the movie. At the end of the movie, they actually played a kind of an animated montage of what happens after the interaction with the young lady and the Predator, because they actually started to show you what Predators actually do when one of their own dies and they go back to that world. Then they expanded on that in Killer of Killers. And if you've seen Killer of Killers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it just yet. But my jaw was floored when I saw the world building that Dan Trachtenberg was giving to this much needed franchise. And then Badlands comes out. And then we actually get to see some Yautja culture. We actually get to see how the clan structure, the family structure is, what Yautja consider to be important to their family and to their family line. I'm not going to spoil it because you need to go see it in order to understand what I'm talking about. But he gets to the world, and then all of these fantastical creatures that you're seeing that he has to survive through were just freaking amazing. It was amazing to see how he actually was able to handle those, and the relationship that Elle Fanning's character has to Deck in this movie. It's kind of an interesting way that they actually come in contact with one another and how they interact with one another. I'm being very vague because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. But this movie, in my opinion, is one of the, if not the best Predator movie, along with Prey, that I've ever seen. I think the people that have a love for the 1987 Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I get it. That's fine. There's a lot of nostalgia with that. But in my eyes, it is not as good as the current iteration of the Predator franchise. Dan Trachtenberg did a fantastic job with that. And I think what I was more impressed by with Dan Trachtenberg is, believe it or not, man, I've been following this guy since 2007. Dan Trachtenberg was a very young man back in 2007. And I think he was just out of college for the most part. And there was talk on this show that he was on that he was actually going to be a director. And he was still kind of trying to make his way in that world. So he actually hadn't really done anything of note at that time. This is from 2007. And these guys here, I used to watch these guys back at that time because they basically were talking about some of the same things that we're talking about right now. Pop culture, entertainment media, movies, TV, video games. Right now, I think they're talking about the Call of Duty game that's coming out. If you don't know Dan Trachtenberg is a big gamer. He games quite a bit. And he's into a lot of the same stuff that we are as fans of a lot of the hobbies that we're into. And he was about maybe 24 at the time that he was doing this kind of variety pop culture entertainment media show called The Totally Rad Show. And one of these guys is one of my favorite podcasters, the guy in the middle there. His name is Jeff Kanata. Jeff Kanata, back around that same time, 2006, 7, 8, all the way up to 2011, I think, he used to do a podcast with one of my favorite podcasters back in the day, Garnet Lee, called Weekend Confirmed. And Weekend Confirmed was a video game podcast, right? Where they talked about video games every week. Loved all of the personalities on the show. Loved all of the things that they actually used to discuss. Jeff actually has a podcast now. He's still podcasting, and he has been for years. And he's got one of the more popular video game podcasts out there called DLC, with another guy that was on the Weekend Confirmed show called Christian Spicer. So these guys I've been familiar with going on 20 years now, since like 2007, about 18 years. But I'm really, really happy to see Dan Trachtenberg getting the notoriety and the respect and having the success that he is right now, because it's obvious that he's talented. Because at this time, we didn't know that. He was just a kid at that time who wanted to be a director, right? And the fact that he started out with, I think he did a Portal, kind of a short film on YouTube that he put out that some executives saw that thought he actually had some talent. And then what they did is they gave him 10 Cloverfield Lane. That premiered on Netflix, if you guys remember, years ago. And he did a really good job with it. It was a very small, contained film based on the Cloverfield lore from the original Cloverfield kaiju movie that came out back in the day, the found footage movie that came out back then. And I think it had, who's the Roseanne actor?
John Goodman.
John Goodman was in it. Mm-hmm. And I think they were in like a kind of a nuclear silo because something was going on above the world. And comes to find out, I don't want to spoil it, but if you've seen Cloverfield, you know what was happening in the majority of that movie. So it was a continuation of the Cloverfield movie per se. But Dan did a great job with it. Did a fantastic job. Then he went on to do Prey. Then he went on to do Predator, Killer of Killers. Now, the thing about those three movies that he did, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Prey, and Predator, Killer of Killers, is they were all streaming movies. These are all movies that premiered on streaming platforms. Predator Badlands is the first theatrically released movie that he's put out. And I'm really, really hoping, based on how good it is and how much success he's seeing, right, with people reviewing it and actually enjoying it, that it makes good money and he gets to continue to release these Predator movies theatrically so that we get more and then we can get them home and watch them in our theaters for those of us that have them.
Hey, Taurus, before you started the 20-minute discussion on Dan Trachtenberg's resume, I wanted to ask you, it's funny because you used a term, you said that trilogy. And I just want to, I can see why you would use that term.
I know where you're going.
But I want to just kind of make sure everybody understands that, you know, you can actually see this movie as a standalone. You don't, while there may be elements from the other movies, don't let the fact that if you haven't had a chance to catch the other ones, I mean, they're both great. Prey is my favorite of the three, but, you know, both those are really good movies. I just want to make sure that we kind of clarify for those that may not have seen the other two that if you're interested in seeing Badlands, that you won't be, the fact that you start off with this one, you won't be like out of the loop of the plot.
That's a very good point, Anthony. As a matter of fact, with any of the Dan Trachtenberg trilogy, Prey, Predator, Killer of Killers, and Badlands, you can see any of them and they stand alone on their own. They absolutely do. Mm-hmm. The great thing about it, if you do get the opportunity to watch it in a chronology, right, from Prey to Predator, Killer of Killers, and then from Predator to Predator Badlands, you get the opportunity to see the lore begin to build and the world building begin to build to where you get to Predator Badlands and you're actually getting the opportunity to understand a little bit more about their culture and why they do some of the things that they do. But they do stand alone individually. You don't have to have seen any of these movies in chronology in order to understand what's going on. Thank you for bringing that up, Anthony. And another point that I want to bring up that some people may take issue with is, of this trilogy, only two of them are actually live action adaptations, right? You got Prey and then you got Predator Badlands. Predator Killer of Killers is an animated feature, a very well-developed, well-animated
it's awesome.
Feature, but it is an animated feature. And I'm including it in the trilogy because Dan Trachtenberg did direct it, and it falls in line with everything that he's done with the live action adaptations. right? And in some instances, some may consider it to be the best of the three because that is how good it is. But Predator Badlands is a fantastic movie. Now, my grade for all of the Predator movies, I think I gave Prey a 9. I gave Predator Killer of Killers a 9.5. I give Predator Badlands a 9 as well. So for me, this is a perfect trilogy. The only other trilogy that I think that competes with it is Captain America, right? The Captain America franchise. Captain America First Avenger, Captain America Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War. Outside of that...
Technically, there's 4 Captain America movies.
Well, I'm counting the three for the most part.
There's a Brave New World. Still counts.
Well, Brave New World does count, but that's kind of a new addition. Yeah. That actually starts a new trilogy, basically, with Sam Wilson. But yes, so that is Prey. Thank you for listening in.
I will say one other thing to add to it. One interesting thing, because it's not that I thought it was a bad movie. I coming off of Prey, I think if this would have come out before Prey, I might have even had it a little higher. But one thing I do want to say positive about it also is, out of the 3 movies, this is the first movie where the Predator is the protagonist.
Yeah.
And the focus is squarely on him as opposed to a human character, and then he kind of interacts with those characters. So
yeah, the one thing that it may think if you've watched some of the older Predator movies is it might give you a new perspective of looking at it from their perspective, right? Like, what was he going through as he was trying to get that trophy, basically, right? So it kind of gives you a little more perspective into their culture and some of the things that he might have been going on, or some of the things that might have been going on with him on his home planet and with his clan. Right.
And I will say that even though, like I said, it added elements to the character that I was kind of like, that's not familiar to me, or maybe I wasn't that comfortable with. I give him credit because everything he does with that character adds layers to the character. So I don't want to totally, again, because, if you're a person that is stuck on a preconceived vision, it will jar you a little bit to see them differently, but I don't think it's a bad thing. So, yeah, and I think if you look at the audience reaction, I do think it's fair to point out the fact that the majority of because I don't want to make it seem like I'm not trying to bring anybody down that's on the fence. If you're already thinking, I'm just saying this was just my minority report.
Yeah, and Anthony, don't feel bad about your score, man. A 7 actually is a good score.
Yeah,
I gave Superman a 7.5.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so that's just ridiculous. But
listen, I thoroughly enjoyed Superman. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But the 7.5 for Superman there was room to improve, but it was still a fantastic and enjoyable watch. Right. Yeah. So even though you gave Predator Badlands a 7, that's not a bad score. So Jason, James, go see it, man, because mine's a 9, and I really do think you'd enjoy it. And I'd love to hear when we come back on the next episode what would be your score for the movie after you see it.
For sure, but Anthony, you got to stop walking backwards, bro. Just stick by it, man.
I'm not.
Seven's still good, man. Like,
I'm still look. I'm not trying to walk it back. Like I said, for me, I don't want to make it seem like, hey, this is no kidding why you should not see a movie. It's something that, from my mindset of going in there, some people who are stuck on a certain way may not like it. Some people love it. Most of the audience that I've been seeing, the reviews and stuff, audiences have loved the direction he's taken it. I was just saying I wasn't ready for it. It wasn't what I was expecting. I may go back and start watching it on streaming when it comes back out on streaming again. And after the second or third, as I get used to it, do it.
The other problem is, too, is like you have the ultimate hype man in Taurus. Because if Taurus is on that track, like,
I blame him a little bit.
The cart's not coming off, so he's always the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I mean, like, you just got to temper your expectations. If Taurus is the one driving,
he's like Hugh Jackman, the master. What is it, the master showman, or was it the Greatest Showman?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's sitting there. That's
hey,
him.
Well, listen, when here's the thing about me and the things that I love. Right. The things that I love a lot of time have to do with how I actually watch my content. Right.
True.
Now, I don't like talking about it much, but I have a home theater. in a home theater.
What you mean?
You know,
This is the first I've
In a
heard
home
of this,
theater,
man.
it-
What you-
You have one of those?
I do. You know, and it helps to improve whatever experience you watch in it. So if I get hype about something, a lot of times that's kind of what it is.
I think your resume. I think your Dan Trachtenberg resume was probably the one thing that gave it all away, buddy. I think we
Yeah.
knew it right then.
We
I was
need to
like,
clip
how
that
is he
and put it
tying
on his
Clover?
Facebook page. Yeah, you gotta
Like
clip
made
that,
it all
put on his
tie, made it
Facebook
all tie
page.
together, didn't it?
Or his IMDb or something.
No, I'm just teasing you. I'm teasing you, bro.
It's all good, my man. So the next thing that I want to talk about is a movie that I actually just watched today, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. This guy is my favorite, one of my favorite, if not my favorite director of all time right now. That's Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. It's on Netflix. It was in the theater for about a week or two prior to it coming on Netflix, and it's a really good movie. It's a good movie. You kind of have to tone your expectations because it's not as wild as what you would see from, say, Hellboy or Pacific Rim or anything like that. It's a more contained story, and it is more story and character based. But there's some good action. The story is really good, and it's got all of the Del Toro isms in it too. Just thoroughly enjoyed this movie, man. And the cool thing about this Frankenstein is it made me sad that back in the day, I think it was Warner Brothers was trying to do a kind of a monster verse, and they couldn't get that
Universal.
monster. Say it again, Anthony.
It was Universal.
Universal, yeah.
The Universal monster.
They're doing the Dark Universe.
Dark
Right,
Universe.
right. And they really couldn't get it kicked off right. And I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking to myself, this would have been perfect to kick off that dark universe that they were trying to establish back in the day. Because this Frankenstein was bad A. He was you really you really felt, man, there were times I kind of wanted to cut the movie off, not because it wasn't good, but because I just didn't want to see him treated the way that he was being treated, man. It broke my heart that he wasn't receiving the love that he probably deserved. Because anybody knows Frankenstein, when Frankenstein first awakens, he's basically a 2-year-old baby, right? He's just born into the world.
You mean the monster?
Frankenstein's
Monster.
monster.
Frankenstein's
okay.
monster. Excuse
You
me.
had me
Yes.
confused. All right. Good.
Let me correct myself. Absolutely right.
Yes.
Victor is the monster.
He's not Frankenstein.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
So Frankenstein's monster, you kind of feel bad for him because, he's new to the world. But you're watching it, man, and the only thing that I'm thinking is, okay, he's a very sympathetic, powerful character. And I would really love to see more of him in other movies and maybe with other characters in that dark monster universe. But if you've not
I
seen
think
it,
it's weird. I think it's weird they released it the week after
I know. Yeah.
Halloween. Wouldn't you think it
Yeah.
would have been better to come out on Halloween?
well, I think what they probably should have done is released it earlier in October, right? So that if those that wanted to see it in the theater, and then let it play in the theater until Halloween, right? So that those that wanted to see it, because Halloween was a Friday, so people could have seen it Friday that weekend, and then the following week, this week, right, November the 7th when it came out, then you put it on Netflix. They should have just released it earlier so that it ran through Thanksgiving and had a longer run.
Agreed.
And then it could have released the week after, and I think that would have been good. But I'm not too sure how well it did at the box office, but I know that it's going to kill on Netflix, man. It's going to kill on Netflix.
Was this based off of Mary Shelley's, or is
Yes,
this
it
a
is.
total?
It's based off of Mary Shelley's story, but it's Guillermo del Toro's take on that story. So there may be some liberties taken with it as well. But it's one of the best Frankenstein movies I've ever seen. And it's been a while since I've actually seen a Frankenstein's monster story, right? But
Well, you can technically, in that framework, you can say Frankenstein because Frankenstein includes the doctor, Victor Frankenstein.
well, and then there's something that happens at the end of the story, because that name means a lot in the story. So I'm not going to give anything away, which is why I called him what I called him initially, right? So if you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about, because that name is very important in the movie.
So you just ruined the end of the movie for us. Thanks.
It's not giving you anything. It's just being very oblivious about what's actually going on. But very, very good movie, man. If you guys haven't seen it, it just came out today. Take some time this weekend to check it out. I do think you'll enjoy it. All right, let's go to James. James, what have you been watching, my friend?
Not much really. The only thing I've been watching was Monster, the Ed Gein story. I'm not all the way through it yet. It's a little bit more alarming and off-putting than I thought it was gonna be. And normally stuff doesn't rattle me too much, but this one was a little different for sure. I didn't know much about the original story. Knew a little bit, but yeah. If you're into that stuff, it's really compelling. I don't want to give too much away, but it's definitely something that you should watch and you should consume because it is very very cool.
Now, you just
That
made me nervous.
B-roll, man.
Yeah, like I mean, like I said, I'm not one to give stuff away, and I just think, especially if you're into the serial killer stuff, that it's definitely worth watching. And for me, it's always the psycho and the why, and they do a really good job in the beginning episodes explaining the why and kind of how he grows to be the person that he is. 'Cause I don't know if man is the proper term, so we'll just say person. The person that he is, and it's I guess the one thing that I take away from a lot of serial killer stories is that there's like a common thread. Like there's always that one thing, it seems like, that puts them over the edge, or that they're attracted or drawn to, that makes them the way that they are. And that's always kind of the part that I find interesting, is, you know, asking the why and I guess trying to come to your own conclusion. So I'm really enjoying it. They did tie Alfred Hitchcock into it. That part of it I don't like. I feel like they did that to extend the series. They should have probably, in my opinion, just made it a limited series and done less. But maybe, you know, for reasons unknown to me, they had a certain episode limit they had to use. I wouldn't consider it filler. They tie it in very well. It's just, for me personally, I would have much rather it just been him and just give me the story. Give me 4 episodes instead of, I think it's 8 or 10. I'm not quite through it yet. I think I have 2 left. I would have preferred them to leave that out. Just give me the whole story and let me draw my own conclusions.
Oh, wow.
I'll tie it in wherever I can tie it in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, my sports. What about you, Jason?
Well, I'll go ahead and continue the Monster the Ed Gein story discussion, man. I have a little bit different take on it than you do, and hopefully, you know, I don't want to ruin anything for anyone, but I'll give my 2 cents here, and hopefully, it'll be something substantive. What I will say is that, you know, I was excited about it because I thought it was something I could, you know, watch with my wife, and we don't get a lot of time to do these kinds of things together. So got about, I think I might be on the 5th episode, and then okay, so here's something that I've gotten really good at, being a consumer of reality TV for the past 8 or 9 years, is I got a real good eye for fakeness. Okay, I got a real good eye for things that are just too good to have actually happened. And a lot of the events depicted and the crimes that he's depicted as having committed are just too, as I said, too good to have actually happened. I'm like, there's no way. There is no way that real life was this entertaining. And so I asked my homeboy ChatGPT, and sure enough, I was right. And so,
Yeah.
take it for what it is, which is over-the-top shock entertainment. Do not take it as a documentary or even a slightly dramatized, or what do they say, inspired by true events. Because I think the actual guy, as macabre and disturbing as his story is, it wasn't this macabre and disturbing. So take it as entertainment, but if you want to learn about the actual guy who was, he surely was a monster, but a little more tame a monster than is depicted in the show. So that's the only thing that kind of got me to stop watching it. And I know I need to finish it, and I promise I will, James. We can discuss it again next time. But that just kind of turned me off of it a little bit. Nothing wrong with the show itself. It's very well made. The only real issue that I have with any of the actors or the production itself, the actor that plays Ed Gein, and his name is slipping my mind right now. That Wisconsin accent is over the top, man. It is really, really don't you know type of. See, I can't even do it. I'm
Charlie
not
Hunnam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's British.
Yeah.
He's British. So.
That's right. That's right. But the way they did his makeup and stuff to give him that kind of lazy eye, and that was really good. It's just that accent, man. It's too much. It's too much for me. It just made him. I know he's meant to be very childlike, but he doesn't have to talk like a child, for you to get that through to me. So, anyway,
the other thing with that too, just to continue on what you're talking about, Jason, as far as the embellishment part goes, I'm aware that's embellished.
Sure.
And the other thing is this was like 1930, like.
Yeah, I think it's between like
in the
early
middle
40s
of nowhere,
and 60s, something like that.
Yeah, like in the middle of nowhere, like it just doesn't have the. I think that's why it's embellished a little bit more, is because nobody really knew outside of what they found how it transpired.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the scenes
embellishment
are
comes in.
based on things that he is suspected of having done.
Correct.
But there's not any real. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad show because
it's
my
good.
reality TV radar went off. But yeah,
But
that's
definitely I think when we watched it, Jacqueline and I, we watched like the first 3, and I went to bed and I was like, that was kind of scary. Like it was like low key. Like I was like, damn.
It is. It's scary stuff, man.
Like somebody did something close to that in real life. You're like, come on, man.
Well, that's the thing, man. In the what he actually did to me is a lot scarier. He was more a grave robber than a murderer.
Yeah.
But to me, that's almost just as bad. you know.
Yeah.
So we won't ruin it for anyone else. But he did some pretty interesting stuff with those bodies that he dug up. So yeah.
And it's kind of funny because I thought about watching this show. There was a show on Netflix very similar to this, in the same vein, actually, called Mindhunters.
Oh yeah,
Mindhunters is
They came on Netflix.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's still on Netflix now. They just canceled the series after about 2 seasons, I think. But fantastic show. Loved the serial killers that they actually featured on there. I don't think they got to Ed Gein. Maybe the show, and I think the show was the characters were in the same era as Ed Gein might have been doing his thing too. But really, really interesting show. And based on your recommendation, man, I may check this out. You kind of have to be in a certain mood to watch these kind of TV shows.
Yeah,
for sure.
And maybe I'll get in the mood to watch it one of these days and see what it's all about. But fantastic synopsis, guys.
Cool.
Fantastic synopsis and review of it. Well, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move it on to the main topic for movies and TV. So bear with me. We are going to transition and get everything set up for you guys.
You're listening to the Fun Waste of Time podcast.
So next year in 2026, Marvel is going to drop their next big MCU team-up movie, Avengers Doomsday. And then the following year in 2027, the supposed final movie under the multiverse banner, Avengers Secret Wars, will be released, triggering the end of the multi-year, multi-phased, multiverse run of MCU movies and stories. Now, after Avengers Secret Wars, Marvel is planning to reboot the MCU under one timeline, and it's being speculated and is highly probable that this reboot / next phase of the MCU will be the mutant phase, where the X-Men and other popular mutant characters are introduced. Now, with the proper introduction of mutants in the MCU, there's also talk of rebooting legacy MCU characters like Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Natasha Romanoff, right, Black Widow, and so on. Now, in addition to Marvel introducing new characters and potentially casting new actors and legacy roles under this rebooted MCU, DC is in the process of establishing its new cinematic universe as well. while the new Superman, the Green Lanterns, and other ancillary DC characters in the DCU have been cast, other Keystone heroes have not, or they may be cast but have not just yet been announced. Now, two of the Holy Trinity of the DC universe, meaning Batman and Wonder Woman, have not yet been cast, or at least have not yet been announced. Now, while Marvel and DC are currently in the process of refreshing their universes and casting or recasting major roles, major characters, they are not the only popular movie franchises undergoing a refresh. Other powerhouse franchises such as James Bond, Star Trek, Star Wars, Mission Impossible, and even The Mummy are hitting the reset button. So my question for the fellas is, can you think of at least 2 or 3 characters in any movie franchise, whether it be comic book or another action-oriented property, that you'd like to see cast or recast? And is there an actor who you think would be a good fit for the lead in that role? And feel free to discuss any other characters, franchises, or titles I didn't mention in this introduction. And Jason, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Okay. Yeah, normally, man, when you give us these topics and you give us these questions, I have a pretty easy time coming up with answers. This time,
I knew it, Anthony.
Yeah.
I knew it. See, guys, this is a topic that Anthony came up with, and I told Anthony, listen, the guys are going to need a couple days in order to put this together. And Jason just justified that and verified it.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't realize I was starting the whole thing here, but as I was saying, so this time, I don't have a straight answer for you, okay? But I'm going to give you a few things that I think might, be of interest. Okay, first, I'll just briefly mention Star Trek. Okay, now, of course, Star Trek has been, you got your movies, from 1979 to 1991, starring the original cast from Star Trek from the 60s. Then you got, starting in 1994, you had Star Trek Generations, and then a few movies after that with the Next Generation crew. All of these crews are getting old, and Paramount knew that. And so it was rebooted again in 2009, where we got Star Trek with Zachary Quinto, Chris Pine, who I thought were fantastic, by the way. Zachary Quinto, I thought was an incredible Spock. I loved him in that role. Chris Pine, I liked him as Kirk. I think he took the arrogance of Kirk a little too far. He was a little over the top with that, but I enjoyed it. And here's the thing, though. At least the first 2 movies from that new franchise were very popular. The reason being, and one of the issues I have with Star Trek on the big screen is that in order to make it appeal to more people, you have to kind of move away from what Star Trek is, which is kind of a slow-paced, episodic type of storytelling. In the movies, you need a lot of action. And don't get me wrong, man, I love me some action. But it didn't quite work. So I don't know. I don't think they have plans to reboot Star Trek again. But I would love it.
They actually do.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I included it in the story, because they just stated that they're moving away from the current iteration of Star Trek, and they're looking because
Right.
Paramount was just
that.
recently bought,
Yeah.
so
That's right.
they're looking to reboot it again.
Now, here's what I came up with. All of this was moving into what I was, and this is kind of just a fanboy fantasy. I would love for them to do what they did with Star Trek in 2009 with the Next Generation. Okay, I know that's a really geeky thing to think about. I don't know who you could possibly cast as Captain Picard. Maybe McAvoy. They replaced him as Professor X. Maybe he could be Captain Picard too. I don't know. But I think that would be really interesting. And who can you imagine Commander Data as anyone but Brent Spiner? It's just, you see why I was having trouble with this subject, man?
Well, it's funny you mention that, Jason, because personally, I think, in my opinion, Leonard Nimoy is more of a kind of a, how would I call him? Leonard Nimoy is more of an enigmatic character than the person that played James Kirk. Help me out.
Shatner, William Shatner.
Well,
William
Shatner.
Shatner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Leonard Nimoy, in my opinion, would be a more difficult character to replace than William Shatner was as Captain Kirk.
True.
Now, when it comes to Star Trek, The Next Generation, Patrick Stewart is a much better actor than William Shatner. So
Yeah, I would say.
replacing Patrick Stewart is going to be a lot harder than it is replacing William Shatner as
Very
Captain
true.
Kirk. You see what I'm
Very
saying? So
true.
I get where you're coming from, right? It's not
Yeah.
just an apples to apples thing because, you've got to get somebody that is seriously talented
Yeah.
to replace
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart and have the fans believe that he's a good
Right.
Captain Picard.
Well, and at least there has been, if they were to reboot Star Trek in some way, at least there has been nearly a decade since the last Star Trek film came out. Beyond came out in 2016, I believe. So I think it was 2016. It was somewhere around that time frame. So we've gotten the taste of the Kelvin timeline out of our mouths. But other properties, like with Marvel, that might be a little more difficult to do. I mean, I can think of characters that must be recast. Wolverine, of course. Hugh Jackman is approaching 200 years old. He's gotta hang up the claws. All right. We need someone else. And once again, I don't have the first damn clue who that would be. But I'm not a Hollywood casting director. Those guys know what they're doing. There's so many times that they've cast an actor in a role that means a lot to me, and I get annoyed about it. And then as soon as I see them in costume and in makeup, I'm like, okay, this will work. So I'm not gonna come out and say that no one else can play Wolverine. Surely somebody else can. Captain America, same kind of deal. Everyone has, because save for a couple really bad TV movies in the early 90s, no one else has really played Captain America in live action except for Chris Evans. Oh, except interesting little factoid, the actor that plays my favorite Star Trek The Next Generation character, Commander Riker, Jonathan Frakes, prior to that, he was employed by Marvel playing Captain America at conventions and stuff like. As a matter of fact, you know what? Boom, Jonathan Frakes as Captain America. There's my casting choice. Yes, he can shave the beard. That's it. Don't make that face, Taurus. No, don't make that face.
Have you seen
man.
his
I'm
hair
serious.
lately? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work, bro.
Look, they can de-age him, dude, and I know I've spoken out against de-aging so many times, but this has to happen. All right. See, I came up with my answer as we were recording. That's how good these discussions are. Anyway, but the only other thing, because I know I'm going a little long here, the only other thing I could think of, I heard a rumor, I think it was less than a year ago, about a recasting of Batman, a character that means a lot to all of us here, and it was an actor named Alan Ritchson, and I didn't know who he was, and so I looked him up, and I was like, dude, that is Batman. The dude is a freaking unit. He wouldn't even need to work out. He wouldn't even need the muscle suit, man. Just put him in that, and I think he would look good as Bruce Wayne. As we've discussed before on previous episodes, I am basing this strictly on aesthetics, because what else can I base it on? I didn't even know who he was at first. I guess I could go through.
And
his
we'll
acting
talk more
catalog.
about him coming up in a little bit, Jason. I'm glad you brought
will
him
we?
up.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
We'll talk
cool.
a little bit more about that here coming up in a bit.
Well, then I don't need to go any further. I'll save that for when we discuss it as a group. But yeah, man, that's it for me. I know that it was kind of a cop out saying, well, I couldn't answer the question.
No, you
I think
came
I
up
did
with
all
what you
right.
could come up with, man. You did fine, bro.
Yeah,
You did
thanks,
fine.
man. Thanks, man. So anyway, yeah.
Let's go to James, actually.
Yeah, let's go to James.
Anthony, I'm gonna take your side on this. I didn't need that much time. A couple days. I sat down a few hours ago and I got to work on it, man. And I came up with 3 pretty quick. My first one is Damson Idris as Blade. That would be one that I would recast for me. You can say whatever you want. This is my list.
No, hold on. The only reason I'm shaking my head is because
my list.
no, hold on. The only reason I said that, the only reason I'm shocked that you said that is because I think he would be a perfect Black Panther. That's who I was.
Michael
That's
B.
who
Jordan
I've
is Black
wanted.
Panther. That's the only other acceptable answer to that question.
But he was already Killmonger, so
It don't matter.
No,
They already
no, he
break
wasn't
and bend
Killmonger.
every rule.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Michael
Damson
B.
Idris?
Jordan was Killmonger.
Michael B.
No,
Jordan.
Oh,
he said
Michael
Michael B.
B.
Jordan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan.
He
I thought
should
you
be
said
Black
Damson
Panther.
Idris. I'm sorry, I
Yes.
misunderstood
I
the
did.
conversation a bit.
I did,
Yeah.
but he said Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, I
for
got you. Okay, I
Black
missed that.
Panther,
My-
but I was like,
my apologies,
he was already Killmonger, so it's
Okay.
He can come back as Black Panther because they just do whatever they want anyway. My second, I'm gonna bounce back and forth between properties because my last one I thought of and I know it's probably my best one. My second one is Emma Stone as Carrie Kelly for Robin. She's a little bit older now. But I think she would make a good Robin. And plus she has like some superhero experience, being in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. My third one, this is the best one, is Timothy Chalamet as Tony Stark in Iron Man. I think they 100% have to do it. I think it works. He's the young up and comer. The looks, I mean, he is a little tiny, so they'll have to work on that a little bit. But I think him as Iron Man would be really, really cool. And they would have to kind of do it like as a passing the torch thing, where, we get Doomsday, we have all this stuff, and like Iron Man comes back and they're like, oh, who's Iron Man? And he takes, the helmet pop off and it's him. And I think people would just go absolutely crazy. And I think it would completely like revitalize everything. Because it would either be polarizing and the people would be like, oh, I hate it, it's dumb. Or everybody would be like, yeah, that is Tony Stark. So I think Timothy Chalamet as Iron Man would be really, really cool.
It's funny that you say that because if you're reading Marvel Comics Ultimates right now, which is the alternate timeline, Howard Stark was the original Iron Man, and Tony Stark is much younger, and he's more clean shaven, and he looks more like Iron Lad, or he's got more of a Kang the Conqueror armor. So actually, inside of continuity, you could utilize what they're doing with Ultimates, especially after the Secret Wars reboot, to actually explain Timothy Chalamet, or Timothée, how you're supposed to say it, Chalamet's taking over that role. So it's actually not that crazy, to believe it or not.
I think that one, when I saw, I was like, man, who could do it with the same kind of, I guess, aura? I mean, obviously he's ascending, and Robert Downey Jr. wasn't ascending when he took the role as Iron Man. But as far as just the look and the feel, like I feel like he's the new cool kid. So like it would just like segue perfectly into that.
All good recommendations, James. That's pretty cool. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, let's go ahead to you, my man.
So I wasn't prepared, even though I made the question. But in the couple minutes, I jotted down like 8. So I'm gonna have to try to cut this down a little bit. My first and foremost.
Give me your top 3.
No, I'm going to give you all 8, but I'm going to do it fast. So my number one that I absolutely wish this would happen is I really want Aaron Taylor Johnson as James Bond with Idris Elba as M. I totally want that to happen. I want Idris, but I don't want Idris to be a behind the desk M. I want him to be out in the field teaching James Bond the ropes type of M. You know what I mean? Getting involved. So I wish that would happen, but I don't know. They're all over the place now.
You said that a bunch of times though, so that tracks.
I did. The other one would be Sebastian Stan to do a Luke Skywalker series on Disney Plus. Stop giving us all these things I don't want that aren't Star Wars. I know Taurus hates everything Skywalker, but if you look back to what The Mandalorian did with just 10 minutes of Luke Skywalker, it was better than anything that's come out in the last 3 movies, and it just takes him to a different level. Those of us that read the comic books, takes him to those type of heights. Yeah. On the Batman thing, Alan Ritchson, who I've been watching since Smallville, when he was Aquaman, he was much skinnier, but he had that charismatic personality. He was even Raphael in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. He's Reacher. Obviously, I think I would 100% back that. I'd love to see him in the main DCU Batman with Dylan O'Brien as Dick Grayson, Nightwing. I love Dylan O'Brien in that part because
I like
that
him
way,
too. I like him too.
you know, you've got to start off with him already matured, Dick Grayson already matured out of the Robin role, so that you can have Damian Wayne in that role, or Tim Drake, whichever you're going to go with. And then I think this is one that's already been rumored about. There's been a couple names thrown around, but they're going to do a Miami Vice reboot. A lot of people have been talking about Glenn Powell. I really think Austin Butler would be a better Sonny Crockett, though, in a Miami Vice reboot with Michael B. Jordan. I mean, that's a slam dunk right there.
Well, those are the actual two that's rumored right now, to be honest with you.
Well,
Austin Butler
originally it was
Michael
Glenn
B. Jordan.
Powell.
Originally, it was Glenn
first name.
Powell, but for
Yeah.
whatever reason, he was kind of pushed out of it, and then they started talking more about Austin
I love
Butler
Glenn
doing
Powell.
it.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but for Sonny Crockett, I think Austin Butler has a little bit of that. But and the last one, this is going to be really weird. It's totally obscure. I just saw this somewhere, and I was like, "This is perfect." There's a movie a lot of people don't talk about anymore from the 80s. It's Cannonball Run, and having Pedro Pascal, who already looks like Burt Reynolds to me, as Burt Reynolds, and Jack Black as Dom DeLuise's character. I love those old weird ensemble 80s comedies / you know, you could even put like a more of a keep it funny, but put kind of like a Fast and Furious kind of spin on the race type thing. So I think those.
Taurus will go see that. Fast and
Last
Furious,
thing is for the Batman universe, I really would love to see Batista as Bane. I love he's
not a good
so
actor.
a lot of people don't. I disagree, but I will say that a lot of people who don't follow Dave Bautista that closely don't realize that he actually was actively pitching that prior to James Gunn taking over the universe. He was super motivated, and that's the main character he wanted to play. And I just think, I know he's lost a lot of weight because, you know, as he's getting older, he's trying to take better care. You know, keeping that size was just a little bit much for him. But I'm sure for a movie or two, he could probably bring it back. But I just think he's the perfect Bane.
I just don't think he's a good enough actor. I respect your recommendation, but to me, he's just not a good enough actor
I
to
disagree.
pull Bane off in my eyes.
I love Dave Bautista.
I do like
think
some of
he's
his movies.
I think he's kind of like, he's just one of those guys that, again, just like, you know, we talked about Elle Fanning earlier. I'm not saying she's not a great actress. I'm just saying subjectively, I don't care for her. I think Dave Bautista is one of those things is where he's going to be like, you like him or you don't like him. And I'm
kind of like DJ.
No, DJ's a little different. DJ's been coming with a lot different baggage, and he's really had to ground himself a little bit lately because I think the whole DC thing and some of his power moves and stuff have gotten out and have kind of left a really bad taste.
They have, yeah.
Same thing I've been telling you forever.
And hopefully he can distance himself and clean up his image a little bit. But no, I still think Dave Bautista's a little bit. I put him on a little bit better scale. But I get it. He's a you gotta like him or you gotta not like him type guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
But Tars, how about you?
Well, I'm going to start with my Batman recommendations. Right, you guys already mentioned one, and there's one guy that's actually been talked about quite a bit that has been rumored as potentially being the new Batman, and his name is Brandon Sklar. All right, now you may not be familiar with him because he's not that popular of an actor, and I think James Gunn is okay with putting actors that are unknown in some of these more iconic characters so that people focus on the characters and not necessarily the actor that's in them, which is what he did with David Cornsweet as Superman, right? So this is Brandon Sklar. A lot of you are watching the TV show 1923. He's actually one of the leads in that show. I don't watch it, so I'm not exactly sure of the character that he plays, but there's some people that are familiar with him from that. There's some that are actually familiar with him from a movie that came out a while back. The movie was called Drop. And it was an interesting movie, actually. I quite enjoyed it. It was kind of a small movie, but for the most part, it was intriguing, and there was a very good story with it. The role that he played was actually a really interesting role. He's a handsome guy. He's got the Bruce Wayne thing down. He's going on a date. He's trying to, talk to the little lady here. But as you saw in that earlier frame that I pulled up, he's been getting in shape. He's been getting in shape for some role. His trainer put out that Twitter video stating that, he's getting ready for one of the most iconic roles he's ever played or something like that. So there's speculation, because we really don't know for sure if he's going to be the new DC Batman, but there's a very good chance that he potentially could be that character. Brave and the Bold, the new Batman movie that's going to be coming out by James Gunn, should be releasing sometime.
Machete.
Say it again? Andy Machete's going to be directing it. Yeah. But James Gunn's producing it.
Yeah, but you don't usually say it by the director, not the producer.
Well, because James Gunn is in charge of the overall DC universe, he's been the one that's talking about when some of these movies are going to be released.
Stop throwing hate on him.
James
Stop
Gunn is
hate on
fantastic.
Andy Machete. No, stop throwing hate on Andy
He should have
Machete.
directed that Flash movie then if he didn't want hate.
Oh, here it comes. I knew it. I knew that's why you said James Gunn. I knew it.
Andy Machete's okay. The Flash movie kind of got a bad rep because of what's the actor's name that was in it that was having all the issues?
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, yeah. It got a bad rep because of Ezra Miller. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He potentially could direct something that could be good. Not saying that he can't, but so yes, Anthony is right. Anthony Machete, who directed the Flash movie, is going to be directing this Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie that's going to be coming up. But I think that this actor here potentially could pull it off and pull it off pretty well. As you guys stated, the other actor that's going to be playing, that is in the running, they say, for potentially being cast as Batman is Alan Ritchson. And Alan Ritchson, the dude is in fantastic shape, man, as Anthony stated. Anthony told us that he played Aquaman. Mm-hmm. in the show Smallville, so he's been familiar with him for years. That show's over 20-something years now, right?
Holy crap, I'm old.
You are. But let me not old shame you, because I take pride in my great.
Hey, well, I tell you what, I haven't aged like Alan Ritchson has. That's for sure.
I don't think anybody on this show has, but maybe Jason, right?
That's right, baby.
Yeah, he could.
But yeah, so Alan Ritchson actually supposedly is one of the guys in the running for it. Now, here's what I think is happening with Alan Ritchson, because he actually has confirmed that he has had talks or exchanged words with James Gunn about some of the roles in the DCU. And he's come out and said that he's not going to be the next Batman.
Yeah.
That is something that was stated. It's being speculated, and I think he might have said that he's looking at another role in the Batman universe. And I'm thinking that potentially, if there's any other role that he would fit, I think it'd be Oliver Queen, Green Arrow.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe if James Gunn is looking to bring in Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, then there's a very good chance that Alan Ritchson could be playing that role. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Green Arrow, he's basically DC's Hawkeye.
Don't do it.
He's actually DC's Hawkeye.
Did he send you this picture personally? This one?
No. This is what you're looking at. This is Taurus's desktop.
Okay, because that's kind of personal. I just didn't know if he sent that to you, like, hey, Taurus, you're my
He's
biggest
part of
fan,
his Taurus subscribes to his OnlyFans.
I mean, I figured you'd be cutting back on those a little bit, with being furloughed and everything. But there's a lot of pictures in the world, Taurus. I don't know why you picked that one, man. Like,
well, I just wanted to show. I just wanted to show the man was in shape, bro.
Yeah.
Like, all these guys are getting in shape.
You know
they
what?
can be Batman.
We all dudes here. Like, I know what in shape means, Taurus.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Well, my thing is, you could have had a picture. You could have had
all the way down.
Yeah, you could have chosen a picture where he had a shirt on.
Well, what fun is that? What fun is that, man? We have
But,
we have
hey,
a lot of people that
I'm-
watch the show, and we like to have something for everybody. That's all.
I want to stop you
that
though, because I know
for?
I want you to print a retraction here, because you said that Green Arrow is DC's Hawkeye,
I did.
but Hawkeye is Marvel's Green Arrow.
You're right. You're right. So correction for those that weren't familiar with Green Arrow and are more familiar with the Marvel character, I was just basically stating that
Can you take
he
that
is
down?
equivalent to
He's
DC's
they're not
Green Arrow.
equivalent. They're
not
different
equivalent, but
characters.
They're both
different
are
characters.
marksmen. They both are marksmen
Yes.
with bow and arrows. That's all I
Yes.
meant. That's all I meant.
But that's it.
That's
where
it.
the-
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. But so this is Green Arrow. So there's potential that Alan Richardson could be playing a character such as that. Still being speculated. We really don't know what's going to happen with it just yet.
Hit that button. There you go. Thank you.
I still hope
You
he's.
like this
I hope
one,
they're
you like this one,
lying.
James?
This guy looks like he could be Batman. But at least you see how his draws.
I just
is at
don't
least
like
up where
him.
they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why don't
The
you like
other
him,
one,
Anthony?
What were you thinking?
I don't know. He just when I see him acting, he's an okay actor. I just don't see Batman. I know there's a big fan crowd casting for him, like they're lobbying for him, but I'm hoping Alan Richardson is just throwing everybody off the scent, and he's really going to be Batman. But I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is one of the what I wanted to bring up next, actually. One of the reasons I would like to see Alan Richardson as the next Batman is for this reason here. And let me pull this up here.
Wait.
Just
Is this
be real
PG-13
careful,
or is it R?
This is,
Make sure you got the right picture there, Tars.
we only do PG-13 on the show.
Listen, we got to get Taurus and Anthony Richardson cameo for his birthday.
Hey, there you go.
Maybe he'll wear that same outfit for
Alan Richardson.
whatever.
Well, the only reason I like those photos is because that's what I aspired to get back in shape like that.
Hey,
right.
man, I ain't freaking your eek. Eeking your freak, I mean.
Freaking your eek.
Freaking your
Okay,
eek.
that's a new term.
Backwards. Eeking your freak.
So one of the reasons why I think Alan Richardson would be a good fit for the Batman role with what James Gunn is looking to do, none of you actually watched James Gunn's TV show that he put out earlier this year in January called Creature Commandos.
I watched it.
Did you?
I
It was a
tried to.
fantastic show. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But one of the things that, and the great thing about Creature Commandos is it's canon. It's canon to the world that James Gunn is actually building. So a lot of those characters that you see in animated form, there's the potential that you may see the live action adaptation in either a future movie that he's going to be putting out or maybe a TV series that he's going to be putting out. But this was the Batman that actually premiered in the Creature Commandos. This is the only image that you got of the Batman in that series. So this is the only image that we have of what James Gunn is actually thinking his Batman is going to look like. And look how thick that Batman is.
Of all the words you could
I'm
have
uncomfortable. I know. I'm
Hey,
uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, man.
Uncomfortable.
Look at how wide
What's
he
the
is.
next one?
Oh, no,
What's
it's
the
still-
next one?
still-
What's the next
still
one on your
uncomfortable.
list, Taurus?
But look
So,
at
hey,
No, I
But
get it,
hold on.
Taurus. I get it. I mean,
you're right. You're absolutely right, Taurus, when you're looking at and that was a perfect picture to pull up. However, I think it's not just his physicality with Alan Richardson, though. He's got a charisma to him. And he I think because he's going to be with Damian Wayne, he's got to have that Bruce Wayne. He's got to be a more balanced than what we've seen from like Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I think that's why I put him above this guy. This guy's pretty beefy too. I just think Alan Richardson's got a lot more range and
well,
charisma
listen,
than this guy.
my first preference would be Alan Richardson because I like him a lot. He's actually got a movie coming out with Kevin James. I think it's
Yeah.
called Playdate.
Yeah.
And I think it comes out this week, as a matter of fact. This
On
week.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's either this week or next week. And he's actually playing a very playful character. And I think what he's trying to do is show folks that he actually has range with his acting, where he could play not only the Batman side of the house, which we've seen him do with Reacher and some other things that he's been in.
Raphael.
Yeah. And the fact that he can play a playful character, such as the role that he picked up in Playdate, he wants to show that he potentially could be a Batman too. There's another side to him. So he would be my first pick. This guy is just who people have been talking about. Is being speculated to be in talks to play Batman.
If you do the trick that the model does in The Dark Knight, where she takes the paper and she goes like this and puts it over his face.
Oh, yeah.
Richardson fits the bill from the nose down,
Yeah.
100%. Like 100% the jawline, like especially with that size Batman that you're talking about. Like if you just put a piece of paper over both of their faces, the jawline fits, everything lines up for the pictures that you show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But them low cut sweatpants, dog. Don't do that. Come on, man. Don't do that again, man. Don't. There's a million.
Look, you got to show the legs being worked though, James. You got to show the legs.
No, bro.
The abs were tight.
No.
Think of it from a bodybuilding perspective. Don't think of it from the perspective you've
I'm
been thinking of it
of
from.
that. If it's the first time watching our show and that's a picture you put up, I'm gonna be like, what the hell?
He pulled that up pretty quick, didn't he?
He did. I told you. Listen, come on, man.
He's been waiting for this one. I think he licked his lips a little bit before he started.
Listen, I'm comfortable in my femininity, bro.
Fair enough.
All right. More power to you, brother.
All right, guys. So the next one that I think would actually be really cool to see, and I think Wyatt Russell is becoming one of my favorite actors, one of my favorite actors of this generation. Absolutely love him in a lot that he's been in. He played Corporal Ford in one of my favorite movies that came out in 2018 called Overlord. Overlord was kind of a 1940s World War II Nazi zombie movie, and it kind of had elements of the video game Nazi Zombie Army.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was just a fantastic movie with a lot of character, a lot of the themes of it that were running through it were just really fantastic. But he played a really cool role in there. The role that he played reminded me a lot of the role his dad played, Kurt Russell, back in the 80s when Kurt Russell played Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, right? Yeah. So he's been in Overlord. He was in Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. He played John Walker, U.S. agent in that. Right. One of my favorite characters. He's one of the reasons I really like that show so much because I loved his arc. He played a villain, and that's one of the first series where DC actually started to show some blood and violence in some of their TV shows. It was more of an adult show. Marvel, I'm sorry. That Marvel actually showed some blood and violence in their TV show. It's one of the first ones that I think they actually did like that. And I absolutely love him in that role.
We watched that whole series like in a weekend, and he gives you a little bit of, he's a jerk. Don't get me wrong, his character is bad, but he's a sympathetic jerk at times. He does a really good job with that.
Really, really does, man. Just a fantastic role.
And he was in Thunderbolts as Johnny Walker too.
Was he? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right. Yep. He was. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Absolutely true. But I would love to see him play a Snake Plissken. I want them to redo Escape from New York, and then I would love to see his son actually portray the character that his dad played. But they interviewed him about that, and they asked him if that's something that he would do, and he says that he doesn't want to step on his dad's legacy, because if it ends up not being as good as what his dad put out back at that time, then people would always be comparing it to that.
He played his dad too, a younger version of his dad in Monarch.
He did actually. He did, and he did a fantastic job with that too.
He did.
But and the only other one that I want to bring up is I really think that there are two people I would like to see play a new James Bond. James Bond is being rebooted, it's being refreshed, and they haven't actually selected an actor just yet. They actually haven't. There hasn't really been many talks of who's going to be cast in that role either, to be honest with you. I would like to see Aaron Pierre play, if it's a British actor, the only British actor that I can think of that could fulfill that role and play it to the level that I want to see James Bond be, which is more of a Sean Connery character, smooth, charismatic, but kind of some humor to him too. I think Aaron Pierre could pull that off. Now, if they decide that, hey, we don't need a British actor to play James Bond, and people that complain, no, he has to be a British actor. Well, think about Henry Cavill playing Superman. Superman is an American icon, but they had a British actor playing that role. Mm-hmm. I want to see Glenn Powell play James Bond. I think Glenn Powell would be a good character to take on that role. So those are all of the ones that we think would be cool franchises to be rebooted and refreshed with actors who could potentially fulfill those boots in those main characters. So what I want to do now, guys, let's take a break. And then what we're going to do is we're going to skip the video game segment this episode because we're already at an hour and a half. We're going to go right into open forum, but give us the opportunity to transition and we will be right back.
Calling all video game, movie, TV, and home theatre fans. You're listening to the Fun Waste of Time podcast, where we love to talk shop about your favourite hobbies and all the fun ways to waste your day.
All right. So what we're going to do is move it on to open forum, what the guys want to share with the audience that they think you guys may appreciate experiencing if you get the opportunity to. And I always like to start this with Anthony because I always know what Anthony is going to start his segment with. So why don't we go ahead and start it with his bumper pull list.
DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, The Fun Waste of Time, Comic Book Pull List.
Anthony, take us away, good buddy.
Thank you. So this month I wanted to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 1 of Jason Aaron's run. Again, technically this is Volume 6 if you're tracking overall, but this is Volume 1 in what is essentially the reboot. It covers, this IDW trade paperback covers issues 1 through 6, as well as the Long From Home prelude. Right now there's like a renaissance of 80s cartoons that are being reimagined, if you will, in comics, including G.I. Joe and Transformers and even Speed Racer, who's a little older than the 80s. But the Turtles are right up there with them on this update, and I'm here for it. This book combines a little bit of the edge of Eastman's original work with some of the identities that we grew up with in the 80s and present-day cartoons. Now, the reason I say identity is because I'm walking a thin line here because they're in the colorful mass. They have some of the traits that we got to know them from in the cartoons, but they're at a very different point in their career. So this actually picks up right after the Turtles leave New York to pursue their own interests, but events start unfolding that are compelling them to come back together. Now, Jason Aaron, most of you may know from the current Absolute Superman run. He's also worked on some, I think he had a 7-year run on Thor on Marvel, as well as he did a little bit of Wolverine and Star Wars. So he's breathed some, he's put some fresh new life into it. Now, his run started off a little controversial because he messed around with some of the iconography with some of the characters, but I think once people settled in for some of the changes, he's actually been celebrated. TMNT #1, the actual issue #1, sold 300,000 copies and was one of the highest selling books of the year. So this trade paperback covers 1 through 6. Now, he's been in the news lately because now fans are actually upset because he's leaving after issue number 12, which apparently was just a limited run, has nothing to do with any kind of fallout with IDW and him. He just signed a limited contract through 1 through 12. And apparently Eisner winner Gene Luen Yang is going to take his place. But read the first, I've been trade waiting on this one. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been in a lot of people's pull lists and getting them on the monthlies, but I really enjoyed it. Again, it shocked me in the beginning because I stayed away from people talking about it because I didn't want to spoil it. I knew it was going to be a departure from some of the previous stories, but I really enjoyed this trade paperback, which, like I said, it covers 1 through 6, and I'll definitely pick up at least the back half of his run to see how it all shapes out. There's some questions it leaves you with, so that's my recommendation for the month.
All right. Well, let's move it on to James. James, do you have anything for open forum for us?
Yeah, actually I do. I usually try and pick a snack. It was a limited run that Liquid Death did. It was called Serial Criminal. Fantastic sparkling water if you love fruity pebbles. Even better
Nice.
if you like spirits, like maybe a little bit of vodka in it as well. Really, really enjoyed it. Standalone and as a addition to a spirit. And that's my recommendation. You maybe can still find it at Walmart and Amazon. But I did know it was a limited run, and they have moved on to a holiday one. I'm not sure what that one's called, but I'm looking forward to trying that one as well.
Fantastic. Jason, anything for open forum this episode, my friend?
Oh man, luckily for the length of this episode, I don't really have anything. No, I've been living a pretty boring life the last month.
Oh, you never. Nothing sumo, nothing.
Well, okay, man. I wonder if the audience gets annoyed about me talking about sumo.
No, we love
I
it.
like
Come on,
it.
bud.
The November tournament starts so Sunday in Japan, which means Saturday here in the States. If you can find a way to stream it, there are some less than legal means that you can use, but I prefer to just wait for the previews to come out on the NHK website, or NHK actually has a TV app that you can download for your TV if you're interested in watching it.
And what is it again?
NHK Japan, so NHK-World, and then if you Google it by that, it'll come up. And that's Japan has their English language. It's, news channel. There are different. If you're using the app, you can watch various Japanese TV shows and stuff. Watching Grand Sumo live is very difficult. For one thing, you have to stay up really late, and another thing, you have to figure out where to actually stream it. So NHK is pretty hardcore about taking down the unauthorized streams with sumo. Not only that, but you run the risk of only seeing the very lower divisions, and there's nothing wrong with those, but they're not nearly as exciting as the top guys. So yeah, if you're interested in it, it starts. Well, I don't know when this episode will come out, but it'll probably be out about the time the tournament starts. So yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Right. So I actually do have something for open forum because I'm very, very excited that this series is going to continue because it is one of my all-time favorite series. Now, one of my favorite, probably my all-time favorite animated show, and one of my favorite animators is a guy by the name of Genndy Tartakovsky. Genndy Tartakovsky is the creator, if you remember back in the early 2000s, the Powerpuff Girls, the phenomenon that was among young girls and even some boys, right? Powerpuff Girls was all the rage. Kids loved it. And he was a creator of that. Years later, he did Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack was actually a series that he created. Loved that show as well. One of my favorite shows of all time also. And then he's done a few others in between then. Then one of them that he did was called, gosh, man, the name of it is eluding me, but it was another fantastic kind of a sci-fi show that he did. And just recently, within the last, say, 3 years, he put out this show. This show is called Primal. Fan-freaking-tastic. Now, those that have been listening to the show for a while or have been watching us over the last few episodes, last few months, I'm a big Conan fan. I really, really enjoyed the fantastical world building that Conan has. And apparently Genndy Tartakovsky does too, because he created this TV show, this animated show called Primal. And I've talked about this many years, like when it was actually on air, very regularly about how much I actually enjoyed it. And there were 2 seasons of it. And after the 2 seasons ended, we all thought that was the end of the arc of the main character in Primal. But apparently no. Genndy Tartakovsky actually has created a 3rd season for Primal. And when I found out that he was doing that, it had me jumping up and down out of my seat because I'm such a fan of this show. Really, really looking forward to seeing what it's going to be about, how he's going to approach the way the series ended. Those of you who are into animated shows, if you like Japanese anime, if you like different American animated shows, whether they're the DC animated shows or the Marvel animated shows. Marvel's got Marvel Zombies on Disney Plus right now that you can go and watch. That's supposedly a really good show. If you enjoy that kind of animated show, adult animation, then you will freaking love Primal. #1 all-time favorite animated show. And I don't know when it's going to be coming out, hopefully in 2026, maybe early 2027, because as you can see, on January, right? So it's coming out in a few months.
Oh, nice.
So what I'll probably do, this is the one show that I will more than likely watch week to week, even though that's something that I don't typically like to do, but I just get so excited when a new episode of this show comes out. I cannot wait. But it'd be nice to have a whole 8 to 10 series run of the show so I can just sit down and watch them all at once. But I've never really purchased animated shows in my collection, my movie collection or my TV collection. This is one of the only animated shows that I've actually bought on Kaleidoscape. The first season is only available on Kaleidoscape, but I'm hoping season 2 will come out soon after the season 3 premieres for streaming. But that's all we got for you this episode, guys. We want to thank you for listening in. Do you guys have anything that you want to close out with? Anything that you want to share before we go?
Yeah.
Hey, just real question. That's the one that doesn't have any dialogue, right?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Anthony. Yeah. So it takes place in prehistoric times. So most of the cultures within the show haven't really established a language just yet. Now, as you go through the series, you do meet other people, right? Other tribes or other groups, clans within the show. But the main character, their names are, Spear and Fang. And Spear actually doesn't speak. So his people they don't actually speak. But really, really fantastic show. If you've not seen it, you like animated shows, and even if you don't like animated shows, if you like adult content, fantastical content, then this is something that I really do think that you would enjoy.
And you can get that off of, because I think after you
it's on HBO Max right now.
Yeah, I think I watched the first couple episodes. I think the only thing I didn't like about HBO Max is they don't do a really good job of letting you know the release schedule of the new seasons. Because I think
a lot of times because these
off.
shows are premiering on other networks, and then when they're done with their run, they'll usually be placed on HBO Max. So that's one of the reasons why you don't typically know through HBO Max when the new season is going to be coming out. Usually it's on the networks that they premiere on. Yeah. Because
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ones I've seen, but I think the problem for me was just keeping track of it and know when that releases were coming out.
Yeah. So the first 2 seasons are actually on HBO Max. If you want to go watch it there, you can definitely enjoy it there. Season 3 more than likely may show up on HBO Max week to week, but it's more of what's that network? Adult Swim. Mm-hmm. It's more of an Adult Swim
Cartoon
type
Network.
of show. Yeah, Cartoon Network kind of show.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a second season because I remember when you talked about the first season, I watched it, and I'm not normally someone that enjoys something where there's no like real dialogue, and I thought it was pretty well done. So
man, I'm
definitely gonna go check the second season out for sure.
That's what's cool about this show. I'm not going to talk too much longer, but I just do want to state this. The one cool thing about this show is even though there's no dialogue, the world is actually what's speaking to you, right? Yeah. The physicality of the characters in the show are how they communicate with one another, and they do it really, really well. Yeah. So if
and it makes sense.
Yeah, it really does, man.
It totally makes sense for the world that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Big time. But check it out, guys. It's a fantastic show, and I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy it, let folks know that the fun waste of time turned you on to it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you this episode. If you're new to us or you've been watching us for a while and you've not hit that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. We'd love to have you continue on with us when we put out more episodes. We do our episodes once a month. Unfortunately, that's the most time that we have based on our work schedules. We're working professionals. We all have families. But we do like to get together and talk shop about these things that have always intrigued us, some of our favorite hobbies. And so we would love for you to join in those conversations
as well.
Say that again, James.
We don't always show half-naked men. That's not normal.
We don't?
Do that.
Absolutely true. But for those that want it, it is there for you. So we have a little bit for everybody.
Make sure you send those emails to Taurus.
At podcast at thefunwasteoftime.com if you want to email us. That's podcast at thefunwasteoftime.com. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if you appreciate these bodybuilding photos of some of these actors that will be playing.
You should just
our
start
comic
taking
book
those
roles in there.
submissions for open forum. That's what you can do from now. That could be your open forum. Bodybuilder picks.
Awesome. But once again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us, hit the follow. We'd love for you to follow us there as well. But you guys have a great weekend. It's Friday night here, and we hope that you join in with us the next time. Be seeing you.